Most people are walking around with the mental capacity of a 5-year-old, wondering why their adult problems require adult solutions they can't provide. They've been programmed to believe that thinking positive thoughts and hoping for the best is enough to change their circumstances. They attend seminars, read books, watch videos, and collect inspirational quotes like trophies, but their lives remain exactly the same because they refuse to acknowledge the brutal truth. Their mind is weak, undisciplined, and completely unprepared for the battles that success demands, while they're busy protecting their feelings and avoiding uncomfortable truths. Winners are doing the mental work that losers refuse to do. Your mind right now is either your greatest weapon or your most dangerous enemy. And most people have been unknowingly training their enemy for years. Your mind right now is either building your future or destroying it. There is no neutral ground. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every mental pattern you allow to run through your consciousness is either moving you toward victory or dragging you toward defeat. And here's what most people don't understand. The battle for your life is won or lost in the 6 inches between your ears. Let me tell you about Robert Martinez. 3 years ago, Robert was a construction worker making minimum wage, struggling to feed his family of 5. He had been laid off from 3 different jobs in 2 years. His wife was working double shifts as a nurse just to keep the lights on. His children were wearing hand-me-down clothes to school. By every external measure, Robert looked like a failure. His friends told him he was unlucky. His relatives said he was cursed. Even his own wife began to doubt whether things would ever change. But something happened to Robert that changed everything. It wasn't a lottery ticket. It wasn't an inheritance. It wasn't a lucky break. What happened to Robert was a shift in his mind. One evening, after another rejection letter from a potential employer, Robert sat in his old pickup truck in the parking lot and made a decision. He decided he was tired of being a victim of his circumstances. He decided he was tired of making excuses. He decided he was tired of having a weak mind that accepted defeat as normal that night. Robert didn't just go home and complain about his situation. He went home and did something different. He took out a piece of paper and wrote down everything he was good at. Not what his boss thought he was good at. Not what society said he should be good at. What he knew in his heart he was good at. Robert discovered he had a natural ability to fix things. Not just construction equipment, but anything mechanical. His neighbors had been coming to him for years to fix their cars, their appliances, their lawnmowers. They trusted him more than the certified mechanics at the shop. But here's where the mind shift happened. Instead of seeing this as just a hobby, Robert's strengthened mind saw it as an opportunity. Within 6 months, Robert had started his own mobile repair service. He invested his last $300 in tools and business cards. His weak-minded friends said he was crazy. They said he should get a safe job. They said he was taking too big a risk. But Robert's mind was no longer weak. His mind was focused. His mind was disciplined. His mind was working for him instead of against him. Today, less than 3 years later, Robert owns a fleet of 12 mobile repair trucks. He employs 22 people. His annual revenue exceeds $2 million. His children wear new clothes to school. His wife quit her double shifts to help him run the business. The same relatives who said he was cursed now ask him for business advice. What changed? His circumstances didn't change first. His mind changed first. And when his mind changed, his circumstance had no choice but to follow. You see? Your mind is not just that thing sitting between your ears. Your mind is the command center of your entire existence. Your mind is the control room where every decision about your future gets made. Your mind is the laboratory where your dreams either get nurtured into reality or murdered by doubt. Your mind is the battlefield where victory and defeat wage war every single day. Most people have never been taught this fundamental truth. You cannot win in life with a weak mind. It's impossible. A weak mind will sabotage every opportunity. A weak mind will find excuses for every failure. A weak mind will see problems where a strong mind sees possibilities. A weak mind will quit when the going gets tough. A weak mind will settle for less than what you deserve. But a strong mind is unstoppable. A strong mind sees solutions where others see dead ends. A strong mind creates opportunities where others see obstacles. A strong mind turns setbacks into comebacks. A strong mind refuses to accept defeat as permanent. A strong mind understands that every external condition is temporary, but the strength of your mind determines how temporary your struggles will be right now as you hear these words. Your mind is processing this information. But here's the question that will determine your future. Is your mind strong enough to act on what you're learning, or is it weak enough to forget everything by tomorrow morning? Because here's what I've learned after decades of studying human potential. The difference between people who win and people who lose has nothing to do with their background, their education, their connections, or their starting point. The difference is the strength of their mind. Winners have developed strong minds that serve their vision. Losers have weak minds that serve their fears. A mind right now is either your greatest asset or your greatest liability. There is no middle ground. Every day you wake up, your mind is either getting stronger or getting weaker. Every thought you think is either building your mental strength or tearing it down. Every belief you hold is either empowering you or limiting you. The good news is this: no matter how weak your mind has become, no matter how many years you've allowed it to work against you, no matter how many times you've been defeated by your own thoughts, you can change this starting right now. Your mind is not fixed. Your mental strength is not permanent. You can build a strong mind the same way you can build a strong body, through consistent, intentional exercise. But first, you must understand what you're dealing with. You must understand that your current results in life are a direct reflection of your current mental strength. If you want different results, you need a different mind. If you want a better life, you need better thoughts. If you want to win, you cannot do it with a weak mind. Your mind operates like a computer, and most people are running outdated software. They're trying to compete in today's world with yesterday's programming. They wonder why they keep getting the same results while using the same mental operating system that created their current problems. Let me share with you the story of Michael Thompson. For 15 years, Michael worked as a bank teller. Every morning, he would look in the mirror and tell himself the same thing. I'm just a regular guy. I'm not special. I don't have what it takes to be successful. This wasn't just morning self-talk. This was his mental operating system. This was the software running his life. Michael's internal dialogue was programmed for mediocrity. When opportunities came his way, his mind would automatically generate reasons why he wasn't qualified. When he saw successful people, his mind would explain why they were different, why they had advantages he didn't have. His mental software was designed to keep him safe, comfortable, and small. But one day, Michael's mental operating system got a forced upgrade. His bank branch closed, and he lost his job. For the first time in 15 years, he had to confront the truth. His mental programming wasn't protecting him. It was limiting him. His safe, comfortable thoughts had led him to a very unsafe, very uncomfortable reality. Instead of panicking, Michael made a decision that changed everything. He decided to reprogram his mind. He realized that for 15 years, he had been the programmer of his own limitations. If he could program himself for failure, he could reprogram himself for success. Michael started by changing his internal dialogue. Instead of, I'm just a regular guy, he began telling himself, I have unique value to offer the world. Instead of, I'm not special, he programmed his mind with, I have untapped potential waiting to be released. Instead of, I don't have what it takes, his new software ran, I can learn what I need to learn and become who I need to become. But here's the key. Michael didn't just change his words. He changed his mental habits. He began studying successful people instead of making excuses for why they succeeded. He began looking for opportunities instead of looking for reasons to avoid risk. He began asking, how can I, instead of saying, I can't. Within 18 months, Michael had started his own financial consulting business. Within 3 years, He was earning more in 1 month than he used to make in 6 months at the bank. Today, Michael employs 12 people and has helped hundreds of families achieve financial freedom. The same mind that kept him trapped for 15 years became the mind that set him free. What changed? Michael upgraded his mental operating system. He stopped running weak software and installed strong programming. He realized that his mind was not his master. He was the master of his mind. Your mind processes over 60,000 thoughts every single day. Most people never pay attention to this constant mental chatter. They let their minds run on autopilot, recycling the same thoughts, the same fears, the same limitations, the same excuses, day after day, year after year. Then they wonder why their lives never change. But winners understand something that losers never learn. You are the programmer of your own mind. Every thought you choose to think is a line of code in your mental software. Every belief you choose to hold is part of your operating system. Every mental habit you develop is determining your output in life. Weak minds run on weak programming. They're full of viruses like, I can't. It's impossible. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve success. That's just how life is. This weak software generates weak results. Strong minds run on strong programming. They operate with code like, I can't find a way. There's always a solution. I'm constantly growing. I deserve the best life has to offer. I create my own reality. This strong software generates strong results. The question is, what software is currently running your life? What mental programming are you operating with? Because whatever code you're running in your mind, that's the life you're going to live. Now that you understand your mind is programmable, you need to know which mental muscles to build. Just like your physical body has specific muscles that need strengthening, your mind has specific capacities that determine whether you win or lose in life. Listen to the story of Jennifer Washington. 2 years ago, Jennifer was a single mother working 3 part-time jobs just to pay rent on a 1-bedroom apartment she shared with her 8-year-old daughter. Jennifer had dreams of starting her own catering business. But every time she thought about it, her mind would flood with obstacles. I don't have enough money, her thoughts would say. I don't have connections. They would continue. I don't have time. They would conclude. But Jennifer's daughter changed everything with one simple question. After watching her mother work 16-hour days for weeks, little Amy asked, Mommy, why don't you just cook for people like you cook for me? That innocent question hit Jennifer like lightning. Her daughter saw possibility where Jennifer's weak mind saw problems. That night, Jennifer made a decision. She decided to stop letting her weak mental muscles control her destiny. She decided to start training her mind like an athlete trains their body. She identified the 4 mental muscles that every winner must develop: focus, resilience, vision, and decision-making power. First, Jennifer trained her focus muscle. Instead of scattering her mental energy across dozens of worries and what-if scenarios, she learned to concentrate her mental power on one objective: building her catering business. Every day, she would spend 30 minutes focusing only on her business plan, ignoring every distraction, every doubt, every excuse. Her focus muscle grew stronger. Second, Jennifer built her resilience muscle when her first catering event was canceled 2 days before the date. Her old weak mind would have said, see, I told you this wouldn't work. But her strengthened resilience muscle said, this is just information. What's my next move? She used the prepared food to feed homeless people downtown and gained 3 new clients who witnessed her heart and professionalism. Third, Jennifer developed her vision muscle. Weak minds live in the present problems. Strong minds live in the future possibilities. Jennifer began spending time every morning visualizing her successful catering company. She saw herself in her own commercial kitchen. She saw her team of employees. She saw her daughter proud of her mother's achievement. Her vision muscle pulled her forward when circumstances try to push her backward. Fourth, Jennifer strengthened her decision-making muscle. Weak minds procrastinate, hesitate, and wait for perfect conditions. Strong minds make decisions quickly and adjust as they go. When Jennifer had saved $800, her weak mind wanted to wait until she had $5,000. But her strong decision-making muscle said, start with what you have. She bought professional equipment and launched with her $800. Today, Jennifer owns Amy's Kitchen Catering, named after the daughter who sparked her transformation. She employs 6 people, operates from her own commercial facility, and generates over $40,000 monthly. But the most important change isn't in her bank account. It's in her mental muscles. You see, Jennifer didn't get lucky. Jennifer got strong. She developed the same 4 mental muscles that every champion possesses. Her focus muscle keeps her concentrated on what matters. Her resilience muscle bounces her back from every setback. Her vision muscle pulls her toward her goals. Her decision-making muscle keeps her moving forward. These 4 mental muscles are not inherited. They're not reserved for special people. They're developed through practice. Just like physical muscles. Every day you can choose to strengthen these muscles or let them atrophy. Every thought you think is either building mental strength or tearing it down. The winners in life are not the people with the easiest circumstances. They're the people with the strongest mental muscles. But building mental muscles is only half the battle. The other half is identifying and destroying the mental viruses that have been infecting your mind for years. These viruses operate like computer malware, running in the background of your consciousness, sabotaging your success without you even realizing it. Most people don't know they're infected. They think their limitations are natural. They think their fears are justified. They think their excuses are reasonable. They don't understand that weak minds become breeding grounds for mental viruses that multiply and spread until they control every aspect of your life. And let me tell you about David Chen, a brilliant engineer who couldn't understand why his career was stuck. David had the skills, the education, the experience. On paper, he should have been promoted years ago, but every time an opportunity arose, David would find reasons why he wasn't ready. I need more experience, he would tell himself. The timing isn't right, his mind would whisper. What if I fail? His thoughts would conclude. David didn't realize he was infected with the doubt virus. This mental malware had been installed during his childhood when his father repeatedly told him, don't get your hopes up. Disappointment hurts less when you expect nothing. That programming became David's mental operating system. For 20 years, the doubt virus protected him from disappointment by preventing him from pursuing opportunities, but protection became prison. David's mind was so infected with doubt that he couldn't recognize his own capabilities. He would see less qualified people get promoted, and his virus would explain it away. They have connections I don't have. They're willing to compromise their integrity. They got lucky. The doubt virus never allowed David to consider the truth. They succeeded because they didn't have his mental infection. The breakthrough came when David's daughter asked him to help with her school science project. As they worked together, David's natural brilliance shone through. His daughter looked at him with amazement and said, Dad, you're so smart. Why don't you run the whole company? That innocent question forced David to confront his mental virus. David realized he had been living with infected thinking for so long that he couldn't tell the difference between genuine caution and mental sabotage. He began the process of mental detox. First, he identified his mental viruses: doubt, fear of failure, imposter syndrome, and victim mentality. These weren't personality traits. These were infections that could be removed. David started questioning every limiting thought. When his mind said, I'm not ready for that promotion, David would ask, is this true, or is this the doubt virus talking? When fear would whisper, you might fail, David would respond, failure is feedback, not finality. When victim mentality would suggest, the system is rigged against me, David would counter with, I create my own opportunities. The mental detox wasn't easy. These viruses had been running his mental software for decades. They fought back. When David applied for a senior position, the doubt virus worked overtime, generating every possible reason why he would be rejected. But David's strengthened mind recognized this as virus activity, not truth. 6 months after beginning his mental detox, David was promoted to senior engineer. 1 year later, he became department head today. David is the youngest vice president in his company's history. The same mind that held him back for 20 years became the mind that propelled him forward. But here's what David learned that changed everything. Mental viruses are not permanent infections. They're learned patterns that can be unlearned. They're mental habits that can be replaced with stronger habits. They're weak programming that can be overwritten with strong programming. The 4 most common mental viruses that infect weak minds are doubt, fear, excuse-making, and victim mentality. Doubt tells you that you're not capable. Fear tells you that you might get hurt. Excuse-making tells you that circumstances are to blame. Victim mentality tells you that you have no power. But strong minds develop immunity to these viruses. They recognize viral thoughts the moment they appear. They quarantine mental infections before they can spread. They maintain strong mental immune systems that protect against future attacks right now. Your mind is either infected with mental viruses or protected by mental immunity. The difference between winners and losers is not talent, luck, or circumstances. The difference is mental health. Winners have clean minds. The question you must answer honestly is this: what mental viruses are currently running in your mind? What limiting thoughts have you accepted as truth? What fears have you mistaken for wisdom? What excuses have you confused with reality? Because until you identify and remove these mental infections, you will never experience the full power of your potential. You cannot win with a virus-infected mind. Now that you understand how to build mental muscles and remove mental viruses, you need to know the daily practices that separate champions from everyone else. Because mental strength isn't built in a moment. It's built in the mundane, everyday choices that most people ignore. Let me share with you the complete transformation story of Angela Martinez, a woman who went from living in a homeless shelter to owning a multi-million-dollar real estate empire. But this isn't just another rags to riches story. This is a blueprint for how daily mental practices create extraordinary results. 3 years ago, Angela was sleeping on a cot in a women's shelter with her 2 young children. Her husband had left her with nothing but debt and broken dreams. She had no money, no job, no prospects, and no hope. Every morning, Angela would wake up and her mind would immediately flood with despair. How did I get here? What's wrong with me? My children deserve better than this. Her weak mind was her worst enemy. But one morning, something changed. Angela overheard another woman in the shelter complaining about how unfair life was, how the system was rigged, how nothing ever worked out for people like them. As Angela listened, she realized she sounded exactly the same. In that moment, she understood that her circumstances weren't her biggest problem that day. Angela made a decision that would change everything. She decided to treat her mind like a professional athlete treats their body. She committed to daily mental training. Even though she had no idea what that looked like, she just knew that if she wanted different results, she needed a different mind. Angela started with 5 minutes every morning while her children were still sleeping. She would sit quietly and practice what she called mind training. She would consciously choose her first thoughts of the day instead of letting her mind run wild with worry and fear. Instead of another day in this terrible place, she would think, I'm preparing. But Angela didn't stop there. She realized that mental strength required more than positive thinking. It required mental discipline. So she created what she called her mental workout routine. Every day she would practice focus by reading for 30 minutes without distraction. She would practice resilience by writing down 3 things she was grateful for, even in her difficult circumstances. She would practice vision by spending 10 minutes visualizing her ideal life in vivid detail. She would practice decision-making by choosing one small action to move closer to her goals. The shelter staff thought Angela was losing her mind. Here was a woman with nothing, acting like she was preparing for success. Other residents would laugh at her daily mental exercises. "Who does she think she is?" they would whisper. But Angela's strengthened mind had developed immunity to negative opinions. She understood that weak minds try to pull strong minds down to their level. After 2 months of daily mental training, Angela's mind had become disciplined enough to see opportunities that her weak mind had missed. She noticed that several shelter residents needed help with basic paperwork, tax forms, and legal documents. Angela had worked as an administrative assistant before her marriage fell apart. So she had these skills. She began helping people for free, just to practice using her abilities again. But Angela's strong mind saw beyond just helping. She saw a business opportunity. She realized that there were thousands of people in her city who needed these same services but couldn't afford expensive lawyers or accountants. Her mental training had taught her to ask, "How can I?" instead of "Why can't I?" Angela started her document preparation service with a borrowed laptop and $25 in her pocket. She operated out of the shelter's common room in the evenings. Her first month, she made $300. Her second month, she made $800. By month 6, she was making more money than she had ever made in her life. But the real transformation happened in her mind. Angela's daily mental practices had created what she called mental immunity. When clients were difficult, her mind stayed calm. When business was slow, her mind stayed focused. When people doubted her, her mind stayed confident. When problems arose, her mind immediately shifted to solutions. 2 years after starting her business, Angela had saved enough money to make her first real estate investment. She bought a small duplex with owner financing. 6 months later, she bought another property, then another. Her strong mind had taught her to think like an investor instead of a consumer, to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to take calculated risks instead of playing it safe. Today, Angela owns 47 rental properties across 3 states. Her real estate portfolio is worth over $8 million. She employs 12 people in her property management company. She has spoken at real estate conferences across the country. Her children attend private schools and live in a beautiful home. But when people ask Angela about her success, she doesn't talk about real estate strategies or market conditions. She talks about her daily mental practices. She talks about the 5 minutes of morning mind training that started her transformation. She talks about the mental workout routine that she still follows every single day, because Angela learned what every champion knows. Your external world is a reflection of your internal world. Change your mind and you change your life. Strengthen your mind and you strengthen your results. Discipline your mind and you discipline your destiny. The practices that transformed Angela's life are not complicated. They don't require special equipment or expensive training. They require one thing: the decision to stop accepting mental weakness as normal. They require the commitment to train your mind with the same intensity that athletes train their bodies. Your mind is your responsibility. No one else can strengthen it for you. No one else can remove your mental viruses. No one else can build your mental muscles. No one else can create your mental immunity. This is your work to do. But here's what I want you to understand. The moment you decide to stop accepting mental weakness, everything changes. The moment you commit to daily mental training, your life begins to transform. The moment you take responsibility for your mental strength, you take control of your destiny. You cannot win with a weak mind, but you cannot lose with a strong mind. The choice is yours. The time is now. Your transformation begins with your next thought. Make it a strong one.